Welcome back to Recovery Wizards. If you're new, this is a place where we talk about all things related to recovery and healing, but most importantly, accelerating individual transformation. That is what we are doing. The way we do this is by removing the blind spots and obstacles, becoming informed of them, and then becoming willing to apply an effective plan of action. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. And transformation, by the way, this is where we are free to the mental health, the addiction issues. We are experiencing peace, we are experiencing freedom. It's not a sacrifice, this journey anymore. We wholeheartedly are like want to do this work because we can feel the difference in our lives. And this is where truly, if we get to this place, the entire journey transforms. Okay, most people never get to this place, and they're in this just grind and doing all this work, and it gets exhausting. It gets emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually exhausting. And then a lot of us will end up giving up altogether before we can actually experience this freedom. So that's what we're talking about. And not only that, but speeding this up. So today we're going to look at the Boulder called Life. And it's just a visual aid to go over some of the components of an effective recovery journey. Okay, so remember, take the best and leave the rest. The reason that I am so passionate about this and that I can even talk on this is because I've been on a recovery journey for more than 17 years, and I have lived in these pitfalls and obstacles. I've suffered in them. They weren't taught to me. I had to learn it the hard way. But now, fast forward 17 and a half years, I have some knowledge regarding this, and I'm able to help others see it and remove these from the beginning, and they're accelerating their journey. This place from here to here doesn't need to take a decade and a half. We can do this in 1 to 3 years. The goal is to do this in 1 to 3 years. I have to repeat that because that's important. So let's talk. Let's just put that on there. 1 to 3 years. Okay, that's nothing. Sorry, my pen, the pen I'm going to be using is apparently not working. So we had to get a new pen. So let's talk about what some of this represents. This represents our individual recovery journey. This boulder that this individual is pushing up. This is representing all of our deepest, darkest fears, our personal liabilities, the things we've been running from and evading, basically. So we are showing up to life, sometimes for the first time ever in this way, in this capacity. Okay, and it's difficult. This work is difficult, and that's why it's like pushing this massive boulder up, especially in the beginning. Okay, but we're going to get out of that, and we're going to get to here, and we're going to talk about how we make that possible. So this individual here, this isn't just anybody. Okay, this individual is somebody who has largely accepted responsibility for their situation. They've kind of gotten to the place where they're like, okay, the problem's not outside of me, the problem is within me. There's a certain level of honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to actually turn towards the situation and apply an effective strategy. If we've gotten here, we're already ahead of the game, and we should be very proud of ourselves for even being here. And my work, where I come in and my passion, Recovery Wizards, is about helping individuals that are here speed this up dramatically. Okay? Get into the feel good stuff. Now, this person here is largely dealing with these limiting beliefs. This is what we have to know, basically, is that at the root core of all of this, everything is based off of the beliefs that we hold to be true about ourselves, about others, and about life. These are hidden deeply within us. They're deeply unconscious. They become identities that we've been, that we're very attached to. And the reason for that is because they've come from legitimate experiences. This is the thing that gets really tricky here with this journey, is that we have all this evidence throughout our lives. Okay, so it doesn't matter, whenever we start this journey, we have all those years of evidence that are proving to us, that have proven to us that we're not enough, that we're not worthy, that we're not capable, that we're not powerful, that we're not safe, that we're not lovable, and more. Okay, so we have all these limiting beliefs. And what is the key is understanding that we're all susceptible to a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's either negative or positive. But our beliefs inform our perspectives inform our actions, and our actions inform our life reality. And then that life reality, those experiences are either confirming the limiting beliefs or they're proving those limiting beliefs to be invalid. That's the trick, okay? Proving to ourself through our own experiences that this is not true. That's what an effective recovery plan is going to do. And that's why on this channel, we're constantly talking about an effective strategy, a sufficient strategy. I made videos on that. We call this, the ETP, the Evolving Treatment Plan. And just a little, you can watch videos on that, but ultimately there's 4 aspects that we're dealing with, and they're all impacted negatively. Okay. We have the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. There's stuff going wrong in each of those. It's unique to each one of us, but we have to have a sufficient strategy for each one of those aspects, working them simultaneously to have an effective recovery plan. And an effective recovery plan, what we're going to get out of an effective recovery plan is that this journey is going to be rapidly accelerated. So again, we're back here, okay? And we want to be here. The difference between this person and this person is that this person here has all of these limiting beliefs. This person has proved all of this to be invalid, and they are now standing in the embodiment of I am enough. I am worthy. I am capable. I am powerful. I am safe. I am lovable. Okay. That's the difference. That's all that's taking place. So, what we got to do in the beginning, in this part here, you can't read this, but this individual, okay, they're on their knees. They're a baby at this thing, like a little infant. Okay. And it's not to say that they're not wise and they're not like none of that. They just haven't quite found it within themselves yet. It's there. Okay. We just got to find it for ourselves. And the only way to do that is through these new experiences. And that's very uncomfortable because we have all of this evidence proving that we're all of this, right? So we're very fearful. We're very socially maybe shy. We're scared. We think we're not capable, we're not smart, we're failure, whatever. Everybody's journey is different. But this is absolutely universal, is in order to get out of it, there's a period of time where we just have to act as if. We have to show up as if we are all of this. And that is what's so uncomfortable. There's all these voices saying, no, you can't do that. And why would you do that? And it's going to be awkward and you're going to look like this and you're going to look stupid and it's pointless. You're too broken. There's all this noise. And we have to just say, no, that's not how it is. I'm going to act as if. So the most important thing that we can do, and this is really the entire point of this video, is to understand that we can't do this effectively alone. Pushing this boulder up alone on our knees, it's just not going to be effective. We could go years and years and years and years at trying this. And then what happens is the boulder slips back, it rolls us over, it squishes us completely. We're back at ground zero. So when we're ready to apply an effective strategy, part of it is building a community. That's what this video is really about, y'all. Community. And not just any community, recovery community, okay? This is so challenging for some of us, including myself, you guys. I was doing all the things, okay? Many of you know that I got my start in 12-step recovery. I owe my life to 12-step recovery. I'm not active in 12-step anymore. I've taken the best and I've left the rest. But anyways, I was so scared to build community and I didn't. I would go to these meetings. I was working with the sponsor. I was abstaining from everything. I was, working the steps, doing all this work, working with a therapist. I was doing all this work, but I wasn't building a community, an effective recovery community. And I was staying really sick. I was staying really disconnected and in so much fear, trying to do this all alone because I had all these beliefs that I didn't need anybody, and I was better off alone, and people were untrustworthy and all this stuff, rightfully so, because I had all these experiences, but that was keeping me stuck. And it was a major blind spot. And so I'm helping people understand that it's not wise to do this alone, because our mental health and addiction lives in disconnection and isolation. And the antidote is community, is connection, is authenticity. And the way that we're going to be working ourselves through that effectively is by building a community. So we're going to talk a little bit about this effective recovery community. So as a part in the beginning here, we don't, it's a process. We're not trying to like rush this thing, but we have to be aware of the fact that this is very important. Okay. And at first, the community will be small. Okay. Hope you guys can still see this. The community will be small. And there's a few people that are really important, especially in the beginning. Okay. Number one is understanding that there's just really no way around it, y'all. We got to be in a recovery community, whatever that is for us. But like, these people have to be speaking the same language, actively working to better their lives, being able to talk authentically about what's coming up, what's going on. Like, we have to have that support group. But also, as a part of that community, we're going to have a few key people, Harry, on this team. Okay. We're going to give them little eyes because that's cute. But we got to have a recovery guide, most likely a therapist, potentially a psychiatrist. Okay. This is kind of like the foundation of the team. Very rarely are we going to find a person that's going to act as both a recovery guide and a therapist. Okay. And I'll explain why. The recovery guide or mentor or sponsor, whatever they are, but they've been there and they've done that. They've overcome the issue or issues that we're desiring to overcome successfully. They're free, and they're going to teach us how to be that. And they're going to see our situation from a mile away because they have been there. They have lived it. They felt it. They've breathed it. They've ate it. They've done it. Like, they know. So they can help guide us, and they're going to help us logically know what we got to do, help us put together a sufficient strategy for each of these areas, and be there to help us see our situation when we're seeing it distorted. Very, very important. Very important. Okay. So that's a key on the community. The next is a therapist. It's the therapist, and not just any therapist, but one that we can feel really safe with. The point of them is the emotional processing. As we're doing this and pushing this boulder up, right, we're going in deep. We're looking at all of this trauma. We're looking at ourselves, and it's going to bring up emotions. And it is absolutely critical that we can process that effectively with a therapist. They may also be teaching us extra self-regulation skills, whatever that looks like, but they're going to be there to complement the work that's being done with the recovery guide. The psychiatrist, that is medication management. Many of us at the beginning of this journey, we may need some medication to help us to just get on our feet. Okay. I mean, it just is logically a part of many of our process. Now, these other people, okay, we call them lifelines at Recovery Wizards, okay, when we're talking about the evolving treatment plan. But these are people in our community, relationships that we are building. And it will take some time, but we have to be actively pursuing these new, improved, healthy relationships with others. So these are going to be people that we can call on, that we can reach out to, that we're starting to text on a regular basis, that we're starting to hang out with and call, and we're building these relationships, because when shit hits the fan, we're going to rely on this team to help us through. Essentially, when this boulder gets super heavy, and it already is heavy. So the whole time, this team is putting their energy, helping us alleviate and take some of this weight off of this massive boulder while we're going in doing this heavy lifting. This is absolutely critical. that we are developing this sufficient team. Okay. In the program I was referring to, they would say, let us love you until you can love yourself. And it is very true. That's a lot of what we're doing in this process of acting as if. We'll know we're acting as if when we're very, very regularly, constantly, if not daily, pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone. Like, it is not comfortable. It is not comfortable to show up to life and act in a way that is in opposition to everything that we believe to be true about ourselves. Okay. But this is what we got to know is as we're doing this day after 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 day, okay, actively showing up in the classroom of life, taking opposite action, walking through our fears, building this community, doing all of this, we are going to be having experiences that are going to be contradicting, canceling out these limiting beliefs. Okay, we will have our own experiences, and it'll go something like this. We'll be just like, oh my gosh, I didn't see it like that before, or oh my gosh, I thought it was going to be like this, but it wasn't like that. And those types of experiences are so necessary because little by little, we're canceling these out until now we're in this stage 2. So we got stage 1, stage 2. Goal here at Recovery Wizards, we want to see this done in 1 to 1.5 years. Okay. We're out of the suffering. This isn't really suffering, but it's tough. We're out of this super crazy heavy lifting, right? This real difficult, and we're here within 1.5 years. We're on our feet. The reason we're on our feet now, and this person's saying this isn't so bad, is because they've proven to themselves over and over and over again through this 1 to 1.5 years that this isn't true. So now they're showing up as, okay, as enough, as worthy, as capable, as safe, as lovable, and all of this, okay? It's different. It's a different energy, okay? And it's felt within. We've had up levels in our belief system. Meanwhile, we're still working with our community. We're building, even in fact, we got our 3 lifelines here, maybe more, okay? We're still working with our recovery guide, our therapist. It's interesting because at this point, we may or may not need the medication anymore. For my situation, I had such massive up levels in my belief system in this process, which, by the way, took me, well, this took me about 3 years before I kind of got to here. And I had a massive up level. My journey from here to here was like 10 years. Okay. So well, that isn't going to be what it is for y'all. But this here, this heavy, crazy lifting, I mean, it sucked. And I was in the dark and I almost gave up. Okay. Because I didn't know all the stuff I'm talking about right now. But I had some massive experiences that showed me, oh shit, Justin, like that's not real. You're keeping yourself separated. You're not separate from this group. You're doing that. There's so much fear and so much illusion that I was participating in that was keeping me separated and very sick. And once I started to up level and see that and prove this invalid, I didn't need medication anymore. I didn't need any. I was like, the words I'm depressed and anxious and just, it was evaporated. It was gone. It was a miracle. Now, but anyways, everyone's experience is different, but we're showing up as, okay? I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent there. We're showing up as, we're building our community, we're hanging out with our friends, we got people that we're building relationships with, we're having fun, we're feeling freer, we may be even working with people like as a guide ourselves because we have something that they want. People are like, what the hell? They're different. Their energy is different. I like the way they're showing up. They're looking more confident. They have something I want, So you start attracting that. You start getting into a leadership position. This is fun, okay? We're having fun here and things are feeling lighter, okay? But we're still dealing with some of the remnants of this, okay? So that's the importance of continuing the devotion to our plan day after 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 day, working our effective treatment plan. And this is what starts to happen, y'all. is that we're chipping away, 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 chipping away. And I could continue saying that. But then every now and then there's something major. There's like a major experience that happens in which we face some major fear. We set some sort of boundary. We decide to turn towards and devote ourselves to our plan versus a relapse. That was a big one for me. That was the big one for me, as I was like, I'm done with this shit. I'm going out. This plan, this whole bullshit recovery isn't working. And everything inside of me was like, just go, just drink. You were better off. You had more fun. I can get more into that. I talk about it in my story, but I didn't. I didn't. And I took contrary action, and I acted as if, and I showed these things to myself. And through that experience, okay, it was like a chopping off. It was like you take an axe almost, and you're like, whoa, and you chop that belief off altogether, or like pretty much more like almost gone. And it's just like you can feel the up level within yourself. Your consciousness will raise, and everything will start to change. And that's what we're doing from here to here. Okay. And the difference between this person and this person or this person is this one will step back at a certain point, and they will look at themselves. They will look at their life, their situation, at themselves, and say, holy shit, I see you. I see you, and you are enough. You are safe. You are capable. You are powerful. You are lovable. You are worthy. I don't know if I repeated that one, but you are every single one of these things and more, because you've proven it to yourself along the way, day in and day out, day in and day out. And no one can tell you different, because you have done the work. You have devoted yourself to the plan, and you feel it, you know it, you become it, you embody it. And at that point, I am. I am all of these things and more. There's nothing else like this, okay? At that point, yeah, of course you're saying fuck yeah. Because you know what this has felt like. You know what this is like. You know what this suffering is like. And your capacity to feel the joy and the freedom and the peace and the good is just as big as this. That's the beauty of suffering, okay? Is on the other side, your capacity to experience the good stuff is just as big. And it's pretty fucking crazy, y'all, because you will start to feel this intense gratitude and appreciation for the smallest of things. You will start to look around, and you'll see a tree fluttering in the wind, and it'll hit you, and you'll be like, oh my God. And you'll get tears in your eyes, or just weird crap will start to happen like that. And it's cool. It's beautiful. But at this point, we push this boulder. Okay. The boulder goes pushing over, and it's like, it's not this heavy. Life isn't as heavy anymore. It's rolling down, and there's all this momentum in your personal life, and it's a reflection of you. It's a reflection of the momentum and the foundation that you have built along the way. And you still got your community. Okay. You may or may not be working with the recovery guide anymore. You may have retired them. You may or may not be working with your therapist as much, maybe just like a spot treatment, you know? But what you will have is a whole tribe. You'll have a whole tribe and community that you can go out with, and you can have fun with, and you can feel safe with, and you can be your authentic self with, and you can laugh with, and you can dance with, and you can do all of these things. And this person here, okay, this person that knows and embodies all of this, they can choose to do whatever they want to do. There's freedom in this, okay? They're not going to want to engage in anything that's going to be risky and unhealthy and abusive and neglectful. They're not going to want to do that. They're not going to do that, because when we believe that we're enough, and we truly love ourselves and support ourselves and understand ourselves and accept ourselves on a fully embodied, Why would you ever put up with that stuff? Why would you ever put toxic substances in your body that are going to harm you and deal with nasty relationships and being treated in certain ways and not setting personal boundaries? Like, no, you won't, because you know that this is what you are. And at the end of the day, you have yourself back. You have your authentic self back. So we can't be lonely. Can't be that. We can be alone, but we're not lonely because we always got ourselves. The whole thing that we're not understanding is that this person here is in this unconscious, unknowing relationship with themselves that's become rooted and attached to abuse and neglect and rejection, because we abandoned our authentic self long, 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 long time ago to maintain love and belonging. So all we've known is abandonment, all we've known is rejection, all we've known is neglect and abuse, because we become it. We become identified with it. It's literally become who we are. But because we've shown up and we've acted as if, we've proven to ourselves that it's invalid. Bye. Bye bye. And now we can stand here. All right. This can be done in a year to 3 years. It is being done. There's people in the community, you know who you are, that are experiencing it. And I hope that you got value out of this video. I am not going to make another video for a little while because I'm going to be focusing on some other things. But until the next one, of course, as always, much love. And if you want to, leave comments, like, subscribe, whatever, do what you want to do. But take care.